published 4:21 Eastern Daylight Saving Time, the 25th of June 2018, updated 9:47 Eastern Daylight Saving Time, the 25th of June 2018. The Duke of Cambridge has revealed how his wife is saddened to be missing his trip to Jordan, as she really loved the country when she lived there for 3 years as a child. Kate's family moved to Jordan in May 1984 when she was aged 2 and her sister Pippa was just 8 months old, after father Michael, a British Airways manager, relocated to the Jordanian capital of Amman for work. The Duchess of Cambridge has not accompanied her husband on the trip as she is on maternity leave following the birth of the third child, Prince Louis. Speaking to a charity boss, William said, "She loved it here, she really did. She is very upset that I am coming here without her." The prince visited the Jerash archaeological site this morning and was photographed at the same spot where his wife was once pictured playing when she lived in the country as a 4-year-old. Organisers of the prince's visit had placed a large picture of the Duchess of Cambridge as a child, pictured with her father and younger sister some 30 years previously. William, 36, was walking with Jordan's Crown Prince Hussein, 23, when he spotted the large photo, a copy of which was released to the public just before the Cambridges married in 2011. The second in line to the throne made a joke about his father-in-law, telling the Crown Prince, "Michael's looking very smart in his flip-flops." He posed for a picture at the same spot, telling photographers, "We'll have to bring the kids next time." The Duke of Cambridge has followed in the footsteps of his wife by visiting the ruins of a Roman settlement in Jordan as he continues his tour of the Middle East. A picture of a young duchess with her father and sister at the famous Roman ruins at the Jordanian city of Jerash was released before her 2011 wedding. Samia Khoury, director of museums at the Jordan's Department of Antiquities, guided the two princes around the sprawling site during a half-hour tour. She said, "He was very surprised when he saw the photo. He did not expect that, but that's why he was here, because he wanted to take a photo at the same spot where Kate was photographed." The Duke spent last night watching England v Panama on catch-up at the home of the Crown Prince of Jordan in Amman, after asking journalists traveling with him on the plane, on pain of death, "Please don't tell me the score." Following a relatively relaxed start to the trip, later today Prince William will begin a historic tour of the West Bank, the first ever official visit by a member of the royal family to Israel and the Palestinian territories. He will meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem and Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas in the West Bank city of Ramallah at a time of widening rifts between the two sides. The Duke of Cambridge has followed in the footsteps of his wife by visiting the ruins of a Roman settlement in Jordan as he continues his tour of the Middle East. He is pictured with the Crown Prince of Jordan at the site this morning, looking at the photo of the Duchess, her father and her sister visiting the site in the 1980 Saturday a reception at the British Embassy in Amman last night. Prince William praised the historic ties and friendship between Britain and Jordan and said that his wife, the Duchess of Cambridge, spent almost 3 years in Jordan as a child when her father worked there for British Airways. Kate's family moved to Jordan in May 1984 when she was aged 2 and her sister Pippa was just 8 months old, after father Michael, a British Airways manager, relocated to the Jordanian capital of Amman for work. The Duchess went to an English-language nursery while her parents were in the country for almost 3 years, before they returned to Berkshire in 1986. Kate's family moved to Jordan in May 1984 when she was aged 2 and her sister Pippa was just 8 months old. She went to an English-language nursery while her parents were in the country for almost 3 years, before they returned to Berkshire in 1986. The Duke said she was very sorry that she was not able to join him on the trip so soon after the April birth of the son Louis, later gushing about how much she loved living in Jordan as a child. William met Rania Malki, chief executive of Save the Children in Jordan, during the evening reception at the British Embassy. The charity boss said she knew the house where the Duchess lived while she was in Jordan because it is now the home of her children's pediatrician. "No way," the Duke replied. "She will be thrilled. She loved it here, she really did. She is very upset that I'm coming here without her." Prince William, Duke of Cambridge, talks to some of the children that showed off their art and performed for the visitors. The Duke of Cambridge, wearing a shirt and blazer, and Crown Prince Hussein of Jordan, wearing a casual t-shirt and open blazer, watch a theatrical performance during a visit to the Jerash archaeological site in Jordan. The Duke of Cambridge Centre and Crown Prince Hussein of Jordan, right, pose for a photograph with local children during a visit to the Jerash archaeological site in Jordan. The children performed a short piece, much to the delight of the two princes following a relatively relaxed start to the controversial trip. Later today, Prince William will begin a historic tour of the West Bank, the first ever official visit by a member of the royal family to Israel and the Palestinian territories. Kensington Palace has underlined the non-political nature of His Royal Highness's role, in common with all royal visits overseas, but the region is a minefield of sensitivities. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict typically looms large, even during largely ceremonious visits, and the Duke of Cambridge will have to maneuver carefully to avoid missteps. Last week, an Israeli cabinet minister complained about the royal itinerary's reference to Jerusalem as part of the occupied Palestinian territories, calling it a distortion of reality. Meanwhile, the Palestinians claimed the trip was an indirect apology for Britain's role in the region, reports The Telegraph. Today, in Jerash's well-preserved amphitheatre, the Duke and Crown Prince met refugee Syrian mothers and their children who are being supported by the Makani Programme, a nationwide charity that works with those from deprived backgrounds, especially refugee communities. Sat on a chair and surrounded by the women and youngsters, he patiently chatted to one mother through an interpreter, asking where she was from in Syria, what the education provision was like for her child and her hopes for the future. He told her at the end, "Very nice to meet you and I hope one day you go back to Syria." When a little girl came up to him, he asked her age and when told she was 5, replied, "My little boy is called George. He's 5 as well." Some older children had performed a welcome dance for the royals when they arrived, and William and Hussein later admired some artwork they had done before leaving. Prince William is touring the ruins of the Roman city of Jerash, a major tourist attraction and a spot his wife visited as a child when her family lived in the kingdom in the 1980s. Later today he will visit the Jordan Armed Forces Arab Army base to see how UK armed forces are working with the Jordanian military. The 36-year-old William is on the second day of a 5-day Mideast tour that also takes him to Israel and the Palestinian territories. In Jordan, he is being hosted by Crown Prince Hussein, who is 2. Later, William tucked into local fresh bread. He visited the Dharnama Center in Kufranja, which offers support and education for orphan Jordanian women. He was shown around the site by Dr. Akeda Jahan, who was described as the mother of the organization. The prince went into a room to see the process of felt being made, which is then sold to tourists in Amman. Taking hold of a small green ball of felt, he said, "They look like Brussels sprouts." The prince was then shown a process as used by the women to make herbal oils before going on to watch local breads fatea and taboon being baked on site. Crouching down to watch the breads being fried, he was told that the woman was using a recipe passed on by her grandma. After popping a piece in his mouth, he said, "Very good. Your head mother taught you very well." Later, William visited the Dharnama Center in Kufranja, which offers support and education for orphan Jordanian women. The prince was then shown a process as used by the women to make herbal oils before going on to watch local breads fatea and taboon being baked on site. Crouching down to watch the breads being fried, he was told that the woman was using a recipe passed on by her grandma. After popping a piece in his mouth, he said, "Very good. Your Had Mother Taught You Very Well Center was founded in 2010 to help women in Jordan who have no family and struggle to find support after turning 18. William was then introduced to Lana Muslam, 29, who was abandoned as a baby, and was raised in an orphanage. He said, "The story is very hard to hear, everything that you have been through. You are doing wonderful things here." On leaving the site, which was built in 2010 by the women using a mix of mud and straw, he made a promise to return with his wife Kate. Prince William later tried his hand at making a frappuccino, but admitted he lacked artistic flourish. The future king was asked to drizzle the top of the creamy coffee confection with vanilla syrup, and while he gamely agreed, he admitted, "I wasn't too good at art at school. Well, it looks good enough anyway. Someone drink it for me, will you?" The prince was visiting Al-Quds, a vocational training college with impressive facilities and links to Middlesex University in the Jordanian capital. The school offers courses in everything from hospitality to hair and beauty, film and audio engineering. The site in Amman has around 5,000 students enrolled a year, of which some 50% are Syrian and Palestinian refugees who have their education paid for by donors. His first stop was the audio engineering department, which boasts a magnificent £1.5 million sound and mixing deck made in Manchester. William marvelled at the 1,000-plus knobs as indie rock band Random House played in a soundproof studio. "I guess once you know your way around it gets easier," he told tutor Tarek Mirza, 33. He added, "I could play with this all day. It makes me really want to go back to university." He also stopped off to watch film students Yasin Nofal, 25, and Medina Hawashan, who were performing in an original screenplay set in the 1970s. The prince was even persuaded to shout "Action." He finally stopped off at the Hospitality Center, which mimics a five-star hotel, where he tried his hand at finishing off the frappuccino but declined to try it. Prince William shakes hands as he visits vocational training college Al-Quds, which has links to Middlesex University. Students and well-wishers take photos as Prince William, Duke of Cambridge, visits vocational training college Al-Quds. Hanan Ashrawi, a senior official of the Palestine Liberation Organization, said she welcomes William's visit to the West Bank as a chance to see Palestinian reality under Israeli occupation firsthand. This visit is the first of its kind and represents an opportunity to enhance relations between Prince William and the Palestinian people on all the levels, she said. William is visiting a region where 3 decades of British rule between the two world wars helped establish some of the fault lines of today's Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Britain's withdrawal from the region after World War II led to the eventual establishment of Israel and Jordan. Jordan's ruling Hashemite dynasty has strong ties to Britain. The second marriage of the late King Hussein was to a British citizen, Antoinette Gardner, who took the title Princess Muna and is the mother of the current monarch, King Abdullah II. Hussein, Abdullah and Crown Prince Hussein all attended Sandhurst, the British military academy, as did William. Prince William spent last night watching England v Panama on catch-up at the home of the Crown Prince of Jordan in Amman, after asking journalists travelling with him on the plane, on pain of death, "Please don't tell me the score." Prince William and the Crown Prince of Jordan enjoying some refreshments while watching the World Cup game on an enormous TV screen. A Kensington Palace spokesman said, "The historic nature of this tour is of course important, and the Duke considers it a great privilege to be undertaking the first ever official royal tour of Israel and the occupied Palestinian territories, and to be able to help further strengthen the friendship between Jordan and the United Kingdom." The visit comes at a particularly volatile time after US President Donald Trump recognized Jerusalem as capital of Israel and moved Washington's embassy there, sparking Arab outrage and deadly clashes. But diplomatic sources say it is about time the trip went ahead and hope it will pave the way for further visits. This morning he visited Jerash, which lies on a plain surrounded by woodland and fertile basins and has been inhabited for more than 6,500 years. Its imposing ceremonial gates, colonnades, soaring temples and theaters all date back to 63 BC, when it was conquered by General Pompey. Under Roman rule, Jerash, then known as Gerasa, enjoyed something of a golden age with wide, paved avenues, handsome theaters and public squares, plazas, baths and fountains. He has 2 further engagements in Amman today before flying to Israel this afternoon. Prince William speaking at the British Embassy in Amman on Sunday. He praised the historic ties and friendship between Britain and Jordan. The ancient city of Jerash in Jordan boasts an unbroken chain of human occupation dating back more than 6,500 years. Jerash lies on a plain surrounded by hilly wooded areas and fertile basins. Conquered by General Pompey in 63 BC, it came under Roman rule and was one of the 10 great Roman cities of the Decapolis League. The city's golden age came under Roman rule, during which time it was known as Gerasa, and the site is now generally acknowledged to be one of the best preserved Roman provincial towns in the world. Hidden for centuries in sand before being excavated and restored over the past 70 years, Jerash is a fine example of the grand, formal provincial Roman urbanism that is found throughout the Middle East, comprising paved and colonnaded streets, soaring hilltop temples, handsome theaters, spacious public squares and plazas, baths, fountains and city walls pierced by towers and gates. Beneath its external Greco-Roman veneer, Jerash also preserves a subtle blend of East and West. Its architecture, religion and languages reflect a process by which 2 powerful cultures meshed and coexisted, the Greco-Roman world of the Mediterranean basin and the traditions of the Arab Orient. The modern city of Jerash can be found to the east of the ruins, while the old and new share a city wall. Careful preservation and planning has seen the city itself develop well away from the ruins, so there is no encroachment on the sites of old. Source: Visit Jordan.